Hello, everyone. Welcome to our last session. Today, another very exciting topic, interview tips. And I would like to start with the first message. First of all, congratulations. If you achieve this point when you are invited for an interview, it's almost half of the deal done. Yeah. If I compare with, for example, with sales and people who do sales, they know it depends on type of sales you do. And if you do sales very often, if you achieve quote stage in some products, is 50% of success rate. Coming down to our hiring process or recruitment process, it's a little bit different story. So it basically, normally, if you achieve interview point, you are among shortlisted. If let's say if there are only 5 candidates for the certain role, that means you have 20% success chance. Or if you have like 3 candidates, then 33%. It's kind of rough math, but in general, I would congratulate you. If you achieve this point, it's a great achievement. It's fantastic. So you've been filtered out. You probably were now in hiring process before achieving like a real interview. You very often you have to do certain type of assessment, maybe behavioral assessment, maybe technical assessment, maybe online kind of questionnaire type of interview. But anyway, it's a great point to be. It's a great exercise, and very often it's important to be in very good shape. And I remember I was talking about my examples, like a few years ago when I was actively applying for a job. I did a lot of stupid mistakes. Like I was not really preparing. I thought maybe, oh, I am very experienced. I know a lot of stuff. I know, like everything about this particular area, let's say project management or other stuff. So I have certification. I run like big teams. So I'll come to interview if I got question. I definitely come up with something. That was stupid strategy because it doesn't matter if you have a very good experience, relevant experience. You should come prepared. It's very close to the sales process. If you do sales, you should. I don't know if you guys someone ever done sales. In sales process, you would be asked to learn by heart script. And the same applies for, for interview. You should come to interview prepared and go ahead and read your script. I mean, learn script. But of course, you shouldn't sound like a robot. You shouldn't sound like mechanic voice. It should. But the good news is, if you learn by heart script, when it comes down to real interview, you're becoming very natural because you know everything what you're gonna say. You're gonna a little bit tweak and change, but in general, it's a rule number one: come prepared and learn by heart your script. Remember last week? I know some of you missed, but last week we talked about networking and we spoke about um, your networking pitch. When it comes to a certain event, you should learn by heart your pitch. Then you would be very clear with your other people. Let me I let people in. When you talk to somebody, you will be very clear if you learn your pitch. And the same applies for interview. And today, our tips mostly was going to be focusing on behavioral interviews. Yeah, remember, because technical is going to be very different for, let's say, software development is going to be a certain type of assessment technical. For other people would be very different technical. So today we're focusing mostly on behavioral interview, and behavioral interview is have certain kind of purpose. And I mentioned a few minutes ago, I was so stupid. I would be coming to behavioral interview without any preparation. Just I thought, oh, I'm good with people. I'm good with team management. I'm good with communication. What the hell I need to prepare? No, that's stupid. Behavioral interview is focusing on asking candidates to provide specific examples or how they handled certain situation. So the goal, as you can see on the screen, is a problem solving question like tell me about how you solve problem, or give me an example how we learn from certain previous mistakes, how you dealing with challenging handling things that went wrong, learning new skills. Very important. Very often question is asked about how you deal with difficult coworker or employee or boss, how you deal with pressure, with customer failures, how you recognize achievements. So all this question depends on opportunity. Yeah, if it's like if you're a software developer, probably they're going to be focusing on like problem solving and definitely dealing with other people. If it's like managerial role, it would be asked kind of a little bit different questions. The point is we need to be prepared that we should use, and we're going to mention that we're going to use STAR method. You know, put in chat box if you know what is the STAR method means. I'm going to definitely on my next slide explain what is a STAR method. But in general, like even you don't know if it's a behavioral interview or just interview, one of the signs to know that you are being asked behavioral question. If you ask questions starting, if you're getting sentence starting with tell me tell me about a time. If you're hearing like this, it means you are getting behavioral question. So yeah, Anwar says it's situation, task, action, result. So Aigur says, I don't know. That's totally okay. We're gonna speak about in details. Like Anwar already mentioned, STAR methods is situation, task, action, result. So in order to like successfully deal with behavioral questions, STAR methods basically craft your answer. So I always come back to my stupid experience a couple of years ago when I was I was coming to interview mostly online because it was pandemic time, and and I come to interview. They would be asked some question. Tell me about yourself. I would be no, but, kind of like stupid. Now I understand it's so stupid. You cannot behave like this. It's very immature, like very arrogant and immature approach. You should come fully prepared. You should know your script, and today we'll show you how to do it. You prepare with script, and I promise you, all of you now, after today's session, you put some efforts. Let's say in 2 weeks, you're gonna be star. You're gonna be shine in the interview. I promise you. Trust me. But don't repeat mistakes I did, being arrogant, being coming to interview not prepared, not using STAR methods. So you come to interview prepared. You have already your stories, and you lay down your situation. You ask your question. You start like your answer, briefly describing, context of a relevant experience, depends on your question, and tell about your situation, your project, what you did, what kind of challenge you had, you give certain example. Then you're moving to the explaining your task. You describe specific goal and objective you need to be like resolving or achieving. Step number three, you highlighting your action. So you in details describe what you did to resolve this challenge or problem. Then you discuss certain obstacles, problems, and you mention what was your personal contribution. Yeah. So I just repeat, there was situation I was working on certain project. We had certain task or challenge, and then I did certain action. What I did blah blah blah, and eventually you summarize the result. It's the rest of the action. Last part of STAR, you talk about your result. You summarize as a result of my action. I develop ABC. We achieve. We increase. We decrease. We improve. That's very simple, but you just keep in mind. For now, it sounds like kind of general conversation, but we'll talk about more in specific details. And how to define. It's a time to start your STAR question or answer. You recognize first of all behavioral question. People would be saying, "Tell me about time." Okay, you're triggering your reaction. And then would be share an example of the time you face a difficult problem at work. How did you solve this problem? Or another question. Please describe a time when you were under a lot of pressure at work. How did you react? What did you do? Or another question. Tell me about mistake you made. How did you handle that? And if you come not prepared, you would be, oh, I remember you're gonna be very slow. You're gonna be like not prepared. Even if you eventually come up with a good answer, you can improve your situation. But today we will describe how you're supposed to be reacting to this question. So let's talk about a real example. So first example, share example of the time when you face a difficult problem at work. How did you solve this problem? Okay, now I'm answering. I'll start the situation. I remember I was working as a retail manager as a department store during the prom season. Customer purchase. It's a very tricky situation. Customer purchased a dress online and had a delivery to store. One of the associates accidentally put dress out on the floor, and another customer immediately purchased it. Wow, what a problem! Yeah, can you imagine headache what the business had? So what the issue task I knew I needed to make this right for the customer to meet my own service level standard and uphold the reputation of the company. That's my challenge I need to resolve. It's a really challenge, by the way. It's not easy. You should be really open-minded person to resolve this type of non-trivial situation. And action. Before the calling customer to let her know about mistake, I allocated the same dress as another store location nearby. I ordered it to be pressed and delivered to her home the morning of prom. I won the gift card and thank you for her understanding. And the result, customer was so thankful. She wrote me 5-star review on several review sites. That's about retail sales business. It's just so good because it's talking about business. So if you are having interview for software developer, or for example, or project manager, or let's say for software, I would be coming like with situation. I remember one time we did error, a system collapse, or I don't know, somebody did mistake, there was a huge problem. Yeah, you start with the wow situation problem, and then you talk about what challenge you have, what task you have. Yeah, Anwar says sometimes ask about lessons learned. What did you learn from the situation? This from, yeah, that's a good question. Yeah, that's a great example. If again, situation, you talk about situation, you then task how what you're supposed to do, then action, what you really did, and the results how you overcome. Let's see some more examples. Next one. Situation. Describe the time you were under pressure at work. How did you react? Let's see. In my previous job as account executive, one of my coworkers quit immediately after signing biggest client. That's a big problem. Somebody quit, and like a huge problem with scope. Yeah, somebody should cover the scope. Task. I was already managing a lot of accounts. I was assigned, so I knew it's very important for the business. Somebody should take care. Action. I took some measures, and then carefully evaluated, restructured my job load, rescheduled. I was sacrificed my evening and weekend. Eventually, result is client was so impressed they immediately signed annual contract. Yeah, that's a great example. I mean, for example, if it comes to my examples, if when I plan to be more active in the job search, or sometimes this summer, maybe August, my plan, and I already prepared like some examples. I remember I sign up in my previous role. I sign up like contract with during the pandemic time where I work for the company. We didn't have enough clients. We had a very difficult situation. That would be situation. We are losing job as a client. We have we had to cut our personnel, laid off. It's becoming a headache and task. We need to do something. We need to find new clients in action. So we kind of, I'm not going to talk everything because it's kind of confidential. So we did certain action, and eventually we had very good negotiation with another big client, a success. We sign up big client, and now we had like a big, two big clients. Yeah, if somebody is shrinking, the other giving more jobs. So it's kind of great example of success story. Guys, if you have something in your mind, write down. I'll show you another on my next slides, like little spreadsheet of these stories. If you guys have some great examples, go ahead and step out. You can unmute yourself and or put in chat box about your success stories. Yeah, very important. Yeah, let's see some more example. Tell me about mistake you made. Wow. Or lessons learned. The same what Anwar said about lessons learned. Sometimes it's like a lot of lessons coming from our mistakes. Yeah. Situation. I was working as an intern at an event company. I was responsible for ordering floral arrangement for private event. Unfortunately, I mixed information from another event and flowers were delivered to the wrong venue. Wow, that's a crazy. So task I took very seriously. I knew I needed to find a solution as quickly as possible. Working on the tight deadline. Action. After considering a few different ways to resolve the issue, I admitted my mistake to my boss and informed them my plan. Okay, before you admit, you prepare your plan. That's why I thought it was best course answer. I took early lunch break, drove to another venue, picked the flowers, and delivered them to the appropriate venue. Results, client never knew about mix-up, and my boss was very great. Yeah, that's kind of good example. And I want to now remember I just mentioned about techniques. What I mentioned, that's I learned like a couple years ago. And it blew my mind. It blew my life. That's a key to your success, guy. Remember, this is fantastic formula. Use storytelling technique. Remember, STAR. So you should, everyone, after this call, go ahead, open Excel spreadsheet and build this for you. It's the same technique. It's like a sales. For example, in United States, where I work, you should learn, you should be a robot, you should learn your script. Here, you build your spreadsheet and you build several stories. So I mentioned, I already showed several examples of stories, and you think about your career, think about your successful stories, and you can come up with only 3-4 stories, and you can, during the interview, you can use it everywhere, by the way. Even you will get question which you basically didn't know or didn't prepare. But anyways, you can, these 3-4 stories, you can swap and use them for every question. So basically, you prepare story number 1. How did you handle conflict? And you prepare in your spreadsheet your story. So I remember I was like having difficult boss, or I had difficult employee using STAR method situation. I had difficult employee, and he was challenging me. He always was late. He didn't listen my instruction. He screwed up. He failed. He was rude to client. You describe your situation in STAR method. Then you do your task. You know, it was important for me to handle this situation. Otherwise, company would face certain challenges. Then you talk about your action. Hey, I talked to him, blah, blah, blah. I give him little task. You know, you come up with your real story and eventually result. Yeah, eventually it was successfully resolved. And you build these 3 stories for like for several questions, several behavioral questions. And later on, I will share you like this typical question. I share you a link with a typical question. So what you do, you prepare this spreadsheet, you prepare these several stories, put in a spreadsheet, and learn them by heart. I told you 10 times today, here's the formula. You prepare your spreadsheet, you prepare your story, and learn by heart. Ooh, easy peasy. It will take you a couple weeks. And in my future slide, I explain also how to train yourself on video. But here's the formula. You're going to be superstar on interview. You're going to be superstar interview. It's going to be very different person before and after. You know, before you're going to be filler words, not prepared, slow pace. After you invest time training using this technique, user story technique plus STAR technique, prepare a short question, you're gonna be superstar. I promise you. Okay. And like I said, if you wanna like drill yourself, you can definitely use your friends, your family member, but sometimes it's not convenient. You can use artificial intelligence tools, and one of them is you see Orai, like one of the recommended by career coaches, Orai, but I didn't like it because it's only have 1 week free, and I don't recommend to pay for anything. 1 week for free is kind of very short period, but you need at least 2 weeks to 3 weeks to master your interview skills. Yeah. So I would strongly recommend to use LinkedIn. What I do after we finish the presentation, I will share all the. You're gonna try LinkedIn interview preparation tool. It's a beautiful, I love it so much. You're gonna use your pitch. So you go for this link, you go to LinkedIn tool, you're gonna be like making your short video. And the beauty is it's a totally confidential. If you're not comfortable with sharing anyone, you can just test yourself and you're gonna get some feedback. Like this artificial intelligence tool would be saying if you're using filler words, if your pace is not good, and eventually you will see yourself. Yeah, you will see recording. And if you have, let's say, if you have this package, how we call it, premium package, you will get more, even more tips, but you don't have to have a premium package. Yeah, but if you do have, and by the way, we'll talk about the premium package a little bit later. So if you don't have, even if you don't have premium package, you still can use this tool and master your interview skills, because it's giving you like feedback how to improve yourself. And again, if you didn't see our session about networking, go back and watch it again, because you should first of all build your pitch, because first question definitely is going to be, tell me about yourself. And tell me about yourself is kind of, you can talk 30 minutes, you can talk like 10 minutes, but at least you can build very short story pitch, as like elevator pitch, like we talked last week, spoke about that last week, past, present, future format. So you make this video exercise, do a lot of training, and that's number one. You talk about me. Hey, my present, my name is Dowland, blah, blah, blah. I'm certified. I am blah, blah, blah. I am so smart. I'm beautiful. I am handsome, blah, blah, blah. Very short. Then you move to the past. Hey, I was working 20 years over there, 10 years over there. I did so. I successfully delivered. I'm good. I'm bad. And then you're moving to the future. Hey, I want to achieve, my goal is to join ambitious product company, or I want to be, like Anwar mentioned, like a few weeks ago, Anwar give his speech. He said, hey, I want to move to international company. I want to be part of international organization. I had certain right skills, and my sets of my skills are beautiful. I'm going to be a great fit for that. That's it. You're going to build your speech, record, watch yourself. And once again, I want to reiterate, here's the formula, your pitch, like machine, and this several stories, star technique. That's it. That's it, guys. I promise you. In 2-3 weeks, you'll come back saying, hey, thank you, guys. Thank you, Dowland. Thank you, Arnav. We are good. We are good. So a little bit, some more important part is not only formal interview. Again, I love talking about my stupid mistakes. I remember my experience, like in United States, I was talking to certain people. People would be saying, hey, why don't we drink coffee and discuss that? I don't understand why I should drink coffee. It's stupid. Like I don't want to drink coffee with him. I can have phone conversation. It's kind of, again, it's like very mature approach. It's a very important. If you wanna, and by the way, I want to bring another example with one of my, I would say, not colleague, clients. She moved recently to, like this part of North America from Kazakhstan, and she is absolutely introverted person, but she came like 1 month ago, no job, very difficult situation. Like money start melting away. Yeah, savings are start melting away. She didn't know what to do. She started applying, preparing the resume, LinkedIn, like we did here. But yesterday I had a call with her and I was really impressed. She didn't get job, but she already breaking down, achieving. Remember we spoke? Achieving interview is already fantastic. If you are getting interview, your success rate 10 times higher than you applying for online vacancy, and it comes from networking. Again, I really advise you to watch previous video if you missed that. And one of the steps to achieving this is networking through having informal coffee meetings. Informal coffee meeting, it is first of all networking. It also is like interview, because you are achieving. If you have target company and if you want to make a huge step towards your dream job, arrange coffee meeting. So going back to this lady, and it was a real surprise when I had conversation last night. She told me she reached out several people through her network, and they reach out other people to the company. I cannot say what company, the big consulting company. They reach out people, and she had great success. This week, she's going to have 2 interviews with the company, with the people working for the big consultant international company. And she's going to she's achieved that through coffee meeting. So she first to talk certain people, met with certain people, had coffee meeting. After that, they introduced themselves. She learned about herself. She saw she's nice, she's smart, she has a good background, she's convincing. Good, done deal. Interview. This week she's gonna have 2 interviews. I don't know. Next week I'm gonna have a coaching conversation with her. Maybe she will get some job offer. You never know. Maybe not. It's a 50-50. It depends on every situation. Maybe not. But it's already great success and much more smart approach than doing a lot of online application. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. So coffee meeting, you should, it's important, first of all, use your network and connection to set up, come prepared, learn about company, come to the meeting. If she's totally introverted, this lady, but life force her to be extroverted. If you want to survive, you're going to be excelling, you're going to be nice, you come curious, conversational. And you should be really important. Remember, we talk about networking, the same technique. Focus on your person you are talking to, not yourself. Take notes, learn about people, learn about opportunity. And first of all, focus on other people, not for yourself, and demonstrate value you can demonstrate. Yeah, not focus on some other stuff. And also, we're going to speak about some other great techniques, which are very similar to what I'm talking about. Okay, some other technique for interview. When you come to interview, come prepared. Here's the point. Every interview is going to end up with a question. Interviewer is going to ask you, do you have any question for us? This is a key moment. Even if you didn't do very well on an interview, you should come up with a good question. You can improve impression of the interview. Maybe you didn't deliver all answers, maybe you struggle, but here's your chance to demonstrate your attitude, demonstrate your professionalism. So you ask question about goals of the company, problems company is solving, ask question about future plans. So don't prepare 10 questions, prepare 3-5 questions and demonstrate you did your homework. You kind of come prepared. And especially very important, if you let's say you're project manager and you come for interview for project management role, you should, when you ask question, you should prepare a very good question about very, let's say, professional question. So let's say you would be asking, hey, in this type of project, do you use certain approaches? Do you use certain technique? And by asking the right question, you are really building your success story. That's very important. But let's keep in mind that questions that you should be really mindful asking question. You cannot ask that like a kind of silly question. What is your company culture? It's kind of like not very impressive question, weak question. Good question would be, hey, I read about your company on your website, on your blog. I've noticed you guys are really serious about culture. Hey, can you tell me more about it? What it means in reality? Yeah, that's a big question. So you sound very natural and you demonstrate, you check website, you check blog, other stuff. That's going to be example of good question. But once again, there are some certain questions you shouldn't ask. Never ask anything related. Remember I mentioned, don't focus on yourself. Focus on company, focus on other people. But if you're asking question related your personal selfish interest, it's kind of shifting energy of conversation. Yeah. Don't ask question related, vacation, like your perks, like review cycle, other stuff like work balance. Don't ask question about like, do you have like any benefit or bonuses? Do you have mentorship? Like kind of saying, hey, I want to like about yourself. Yeah, you kind of look selfish. That's not a good practice. So what else about interview? Let's talk about remote interview. I don't know if you guys saw my story I published like a couple years ago. I had an interview. I had a phone interview because it's a like screening interview. If you apply, people would be asking let's do first the screening interview. So let me see, HR might be a real challenge. Yeah, HR might be real challenge. Yeah, so yeah, story what I had a couple years ago. I had a screening interview with a recruiter, but I had my conversation. I was fully prepared, and then connection was bad. I started breaking up, and other person started breaking up, and we had very difficult conversation. And she started apologizing. Oh, it's my fault. Let me just use another like place. I called from different bank. She called again, and again we struggle. So I was kind of okay, but after like we finished 30-minute conversation, I really felt exhausted and also like not very good feeling, because if you didn't communicate very well, I was not really very impressive. Like I was kind of not happy with this conversation, and definitely they didn't approve me for the next stage. Yeah, after a few days, I had another interview, and another was very bad connection. I said, wow, what's going on? I said, what's wrong with my phone? And then I talked to my company, my provider, and they said, hey, we have some repair work. We're replacing tower. So it's going to be like few weeks. It's going to be very bad connection. And they give me like hints. They said, if you can like do Wi-Fi calling in your setting, it's probably my help. Yeah, I did that, and next my interview I was good. There was no problem at all. So it's kind of like a little trick, but it's all about being prepared for interview. It's not like, hey, I have interview, I just talk now. It's a lot of example when people are not prepared. They're talking from coffee shop, as they, like sound not nice or they look not professional. No, you should come prepared. Also, when we talk about online, yeah, you test yourself that your head should be in the middle of your screen, not like this or not like far away. You sound professional, you sound positive. Check your it's kind of obvious, but you would trust how a lot of people don't really mindful, not really mindful when they come to this online intro. Another very popular question about salary. Sooner or later, maybe on the first interview, maybe on last interview, you will be asked a question. What is your salary expectation? And a lot of people struggle, including myself. When I was not prepared, I was like, it's a very difficult question. I don't, and you start, especially if you really like this position, you start thinking, what if I tell too much? They're going to reject me. What I say, if I say too little, they would undervalue me. It's so painful. I know a lot of people struggle with that. Now it's easy peasy because I know what to say. One of the version would say, "Hey, what is your budget for this role?" That's easy, yeah. But one of the two other options you can see on my screen. Hey, based on my investigation, on my experience, I know this position in my, let's say in Houston, average is going to be this range between. So I kind of have some idea, budget. Is it just in line with your budget? Because sometimes if you know, in most cases, they would be totally fine to share budgets, no problem. In some cases, they would be like reluctant, you know. Another option, I understand market rate for this position in my city and I'm comfortable with this. Does it in line with this compensation you have in mind? So you're kind of answering with question to the question, but of course it's helps you to clarify, and also you sound very professional, you sound prepared. It's much better if you start struggling. Oh, I don't know what to say, maybe yes, maybe no. So just be ready, that's all you need. If you come prepared, if you are ready, then you look great. Every time when you struggle, impression of interview is going to be like it's not good. Yeah, feel professional, be confident. So I'm gonna share this link after we finish this call. That's a lot of great interview question. It's, I don't know, 50 other stuff. It's going to be on my next slide. Yeah. And wow, another important, sending thank you after interview. And a lot of people, including myself, forget about that. It's a big deal. You know, like interview have so many important pieces. It's important to connect all parts of together. So after you finish your interview, within 24 hours, send thank you note. Not in 2 days, not in 3 days. Within 24 hours, thank you note. It's good. It's building a rapport. And if you had a group of interviewers, let's say 10 people interview you, no, 10, it's not really, like 4 people, 5 people. If you see email, the emails, email them individually. Ask and thanks for your time. Thanks for your interview. Then you mention you demonstrate your professional level that you've been bonus to kind of focus on this interview. Yeah. Thanks for interview. Specific point mention. Yeah, I remember during the interview you mentioned something. Emphasize you can contribute on interview. Like I give you example, like during the interview, interviewer may mention some like struggles they have on certain projects, and you can say, hey, remember during the interview you mentioned some issue with the cost management. Here's my blog. I've read. It's an excellent source. Use this for your knowledge. Yes, thank you for sharing that. You know, like it's a great example. Yeah, once again, you try to confirm your interest, confirm your motivation. Yeah, it's important. People know, oh, hey, she is or he's motivated. She wants to get this job. Why don't we just, maybe it might be like another important 1% what you need. What else? Important to keep your contact details, especially phone number. When you finish, okay, mention certain techniques, competency, technology. Again, I mentioned like a blog post or something. I had another interesting question a few weeks ago. One of my clients mentioned she had not very successful interview. She couldn't answer certain question because she got like blocked. She couldn't speak for a few minutes. She just got frozen. And she asked me, should I like come back to clarify this question? Because I knew perfectly what to say. You know, I knew answers, but she, I don't, due to some psychology moments, she couldn't reply to that. And I told you, here's a moment. If you have 24 hours to thank for interview and fix your errors. You see last point of this slide. Fix your errors. If you didn't do good, you can come back, thank you for interview. And by the way, you asked a good question. I couldn't, I was a little bit under the stress. I couldn't properly respond that, but definitely here's what I'm thinking about that. And you just provide very good, professional clarification answer for that. That would be your little chance to fix your errors, to fix your impression. So again, even if it's not going to work, even if they never replied, but it's a good little techniques, keep that in mind. Yeah, that was I was mentioned a few minutes ago. Main interview questions. I'm going to mention that. I'm going to put in the Telegram channel. You're going to just open. There are like plenty of great interview questions and answer. Enjoy that. Yeah, I also several people reach out to me, and some people reach Arna about further work, like continue our relationship. Guys, we're gonna have today last session. It was fantastic experience for me. I think for Arna also enjoyed. And we have several success stories. A lot of people got even already starting new jobs, including people right now sitting in this call. Once again, we congratulate you. Fantastic job. Keep pushing. Now you have new step, very important stage of your life. It's a new job, new challenges. So some people would like to stay in contact. First of all, since this career support group 6 weeks program was a fantastic success for people, for me, for Arna, we're gonna repeat this free coaching support group, but not immediately. Sometime in June, maybe middle of June or end of June, we're gonna do another 6 week. Yeah, because we learn a lot ourselves. Like we do some tweaks, but initially we planned this event like more like a coaching conversation, but eventually end up we had what we had. But I know some people wants to stay. So if you want to again do in sometime in June career support group again, that's totally fine. But if you want to do a little bit more activity like in coaching environment, small group, I know Arna, I don't know Arna if you want to share your experience. Arna runs small group for women who are building their career mostly in tech. That's fantastic experience. They support. It's basically very similar content about resume, LinkedIn, and more coaching conversation. Because a lot of time you need energy boost. You need real motivation. It's not about resume. It's not about LinkedIn very often. Not LinkedIn important, resume important, but very often about being motivated. Being inspired, doing job every day. So these coaching support groups, what we are, having as a side to this additional activity to career support group. So if you guys want to like have something in your life, having small group, 5 people, maybe 4, 5, 6 people supporting each other, leave your request. I will publish in the Telegram channel. Put your request. We'll reach out individually. Because recently several people reach out, Arna and me, mostly Arna, about would like to stay in touch. Can we do like small team? So that's another big announcement. But again, you don't have to do this. If you want to come back, stay in touch. We're gonna do in June, maybe middle of June or end of June. We're gonna start again career support group. It's gonna be another great experience. Ooh, very good conversation. I really enjoy this session. It's a big topic. Yeah. So guys, any question? I'm gonna pause my recording and